Begin within, crafting a life through intentional living. Intention is more than a wish. It's the conscious decision to move toward a specific future. Unlike fleeting thoughts or vague dreams, intentions carry energy. They align your actions, shift your perspective, and eventually shape your destiny. This story follows three individuals, Maya, Liam, and Amina, who each discovered the profound impact of intention in their lives. Though from different walks of life, their paths cross in unexpected ways, teaching them and us that the future is not a matter of chance, but of conscious creation. Part 1, Maya's Wake-Up Call. Maya Alvarez had just turned 30. By society standards, her life was acceptable. She had a stable job as an account manager in a mid-sized tech firm in Boston. Her one-bedroom apartment was cozy, her friendships predictable, and her routine efficient. But one rainy morning, something snapped. She sat on the subway watching droplets race each other down the window, her phone buzzing with calendar alerts. Her reflection in the glass looked tired emotionally more than physically. It wasn't burnout. It was emptiness. She suddenly realized everything she was doing, she had never consciously chosen. She wasn't unhappy, but she wasn't alive either. That night, she couldn't sleep. Instead of scrolling through her phone like she usually did, she opened a blank journal. At the top of the page, she wrote, "What do I actually want?" The question was terrifying in its simplicity. No one had ever asked her that, not her parents, not her teachers, not even herself. Maya began listing things. To feel excited in the morning, to create something meaningful, to travel and see how other people live, to feel proud of how she spends her time. She stared at the list. For the first time in years, she felt a flicker of something that resembled hope. That night, she set her first intention. "I intend to live with purpose, not convenience." The next morning, she didn't quit her job or book a one-way ticket to Thailand. Instead, she started small. She woke up 30 minutes earlier and meditated. She signed up for a weekend writing class. When her boss offered her a leadership project she would normally reject out of fear, she said yes. 2 months later, she realized something incredible. Her external world hadn't changed much, but her internal world had. And slowly, that inner change began to shift everything else. Part 2, Liam's Crossroads. Liam Chen stood at the edge of the rooftop parking lot, overlooking the San Francisco skyline. Below, cars glided like silent beetles, unaware of the storm brewing in his mind. At 27, he had already co-founded a tech startup, secured seed funding, and hired a team. On paper, he was a success story. In reality, he was drowning. 2 years earlier, he had dropped out of graduate school to chase his dream. But somewhere along the way, the dream had twisted. Investors cared more about returns than impact. The product was becoming something he didn't believe in. Worst of all, he had stopped sleeping. His days blurred into pitches, deadlines, and caffeine. At night, anxiety replaced rest. One evening, he visited a local bookstore just to escape. Wandering the aisles, he randomly pulled a book off the shelf, The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer. The title struck a chord. He bought it on a whim and read the first few pages at a nearby cafe. One sentence hit him like a punch. "Our intention creates our reality." Liam paused. What had his intention been when he started the company? To innovate, to solve real-world problems, to inspire people. When had that shifted into survival and validation? That night, he wrote in his journal for the first time in years, "I intend to lead with integrity and purpose, not fear or ego." In the weeks that followed, Liam began recalibrating. He met with his co-founder and initiated a tough conversation about their mission. They cut ties with a toxic investor, scaled down to essentials, and pivoted the product to focus on accessibility, something Liam had always cared about, but shelved for later. He also started therapy, which helped him see that much of his hustle had been driven by a fear of not being enough. Naming that fear gave him power over it. Progress wasn't immediate or easy, but something fundamental shifted. He stopped reacting and started choosing. With eye intention, and slowly, joy crept back into the work. Part 3. Amina's Second Chance. Amina Hassan was 55 when she retired early, not because she wanted to, but because the school district downsized. After 30 years of teaching literature to high schoolers in Atlanta, she found herself lost. No students, no classroom, no reason to get up before noon. She spent the first month rearranging furniture, binge-watching crime dramas, and denying the hollow ache in her chest. Then one day, her niece Layla visited. She was struggling in college and asked, "Auntie, can you help me with my English paper?" They sat at the kitchen table with tea and laptops, dissecting Toni Morrison's Beloved. For 2 hours, Amina was alive again, animated, wise, and full of fire. When Layla got an A, she emailed Amina, "You're magic." That single sentence made Amina weep. She realized something profound. She had retired from her job, but not from her purpose. That night, she wrote a new intention. "I intend to keep teaching in new ways for new people." Amina started a YouTube channel, Literature with Ms. H. It was awkward at first, but she learned to edit videos, share on social media, and even live stream book discussions. People from all over the world tuned in, young students, adult learners, aspiring writers. Comments poured in, thanking her for making literature feel alive. By the end of the year, she had over 50,000 subscribers. But more importantly, she had herself back. Part 4. When Paths Cross. Fate, or perhaps intention, has a funny way of connecting people. In the summer of the following year, all three, Maya, Liam, and Amina, were invited to speak at a personal development summit in Denver. The theme, Living with Intention. Maya spoke about the power of small, consistent shifts in daily life. Liam shared his journey from burnout to authenticity. Amina delivered a passionate talk on purpose beyond the paycheck. They met during a panel discussion, laughed over dinner, and stayed in touch. They formed a mastermind group, meeting monthly online to support one another. Their conversations weren't just about goals, they were about alignment, clarity, and conscious living. Each of them had learned that intention wasn't magic. It didn't erase obstacles or guarantee success, but it provided direction, resilience, and meaning. It made the difference between drifting and choosing. Part 5. The Mastermind Circle. The idea began as a group chat, but quickly evolved into something more structured. Maya, Liam, and Amina met virtually on the first Sunday of every month. They called it the Intention Circle. Each session began with a simple ritual, stating their primary intention for the coming month. Not a goal, an intention. Goals were outcomes, intentions were directions. Maya's first intention: I intend to trust my creativity and write, even if no one reads it. She began drafting a collection of essays titled The Morning I Woke Up. Each essay was a personal story about reclaiming her inner voice. She published a few online. The response was small but powerful. Readers emailed her saying, "You put into words what I didn't know I was feeling." Liam's first intention: I intend to grow the company consciously, without compromising my peace. He hired a life coach and established new boundaries. No emails after 6 p.m., no meetings on Fridays. He introduced company-wide mindfulness breaks, 10-minute meditations mid-morning. At first, his team found it strange, but productivity increased. So did morale. Amina's first intention: I intend to embrace technology, not fear it. She enrolled in a free online course in video production. Her editing improved, and she started collaborating with young content creators. Soon, her channel featured interviews, live readings, and even poetry challenges. Amina went from retired teacher to digital mentor. The trio realized that intention didn't require perfection. It required presence. Some months they failed to follow through. Other times life threw curveballs. But the check-ins kept them grounded. They weren't just shaping their own futures anymore. They were shaping each other's. Part 6. The Deep Work Retreat. 1 year after the Denver summit, Maya suggested they host a retreat. Not a big event, she clarified. Just the three of us. Somewhere quiet, a chance to go deep. They chose Taos, New Mexico, a cabin in the desert. No Wi-Fi, no phones, just journals, books, long walks, and conversations under stars. Each day started with meditation and a writing prompt. They asked big questions. Who are you when no one's watching? What do you still need to forgive in yourself? What are you afraid to want? Tears flowed. So did laughter. On the third night, Amina shared something she had never said aloud. I spent my entire life teaching others to believe in themselves. But I didn't always believe in myself outside the classroom, Maya admitted. I still struggle to feel worthy without achieving something. Liam added quietly, sometimes I still feel like I'm pretending, like I'm one mistake away from losing everything. There was a silence, and then Amina said the words that changed everything. But look at us. We're still here, still growing. That's the real intention, to keep becoming. That night, under a blanket of stars, they wrote a shared intention in their journals. We intend to live from the inside out, not to impress, but to express, not to prove, but to become. Part 7. Impact Beyond the Self. 6 months later, Amina received an email from a nonprofit that helped underserved schools in rural Kenya. A teacher there had discovered her YouTube channel and was using it to teach English literature. They invited her to collaborate on a literacy project. Without hesitation, Amina said yes. Maya was invited to give a TEDx talk titled, "The Day I Woke Up Wasn't a Special Day." In it, she shared her transformation from sleepwalking through life to choosing her path. The video went viral. Liam's startup launched an initiative called Tech for Good. They developed simplified, low-cost software for developing regions. Their profits didn't soar, but their impact did. The three friends didn't become celebrities. They didn't get rich overnight, but they were living lives they had chosen, lives they could feel proud of. Their stories began to inspire others. They started a podcast together, Live with Intention. Each episode featured real stories of transformation from nurses, musicians, single parents, students, and retirees. The podcast climbed the charts, not because it was flashy, but because it was real. Part 8. Full Circle. 2 years after their first meeting in Denver, they returned to the summit, this time as the keynote speakers. Maya walked to the stage first and asked the audience, when was the last time you asked yourself what you truly want? Not what's expected of you, not what's practical, but what's real. Liam followed, saying, "Intention doesn't need to be loud. It needs to be honest. Quiet choices can still shape loud futures." And Amina closed the event with a line that brought the audience to its feet. "You are not too old, too late, or too lost. You are always one intention away from a new direction." The applause was thunderous, not just for them, but for what they represented. The power of choosing your life, one intention at a time.